Yeah, you sort of said it. I don't think this horse really can be beaten.
Are we just not staring at the best horse in the race here?
I thought she's very, very smart, and she'll be a great horse, definitely, for sure. Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. And for the first time this jump season, Cheltenham is back. No, not the Cheltenham Festival, but the Cheltenham October Meeting. 2 days at Prestbury Park on Friday and Saturday later this week. Some banging cards, it actually looks like. And as I am sort of half an hour from Cheltenham, the rain has been falling down. The rain will be falling down tomorrow as well. So hopefully we should have the horses standing their ground for what looks to be 2 good days of action around Prestbury Park. So myself and Harry on this evening or this morning, whenever you're watching this video. Harry, you'll be at Cheltenham. I actually think this might be the first Cheltenham meeting since I got food poisoning at the Trials Day meeting a couple of years ago that I won't be at Cheltenham this weekend. I definitely won't be on the Friday, and depending whether I get selected for my rugby team or not, I might then be there on Saturday, I might not. So if my rugby team think I'm good enough, I'll be playing. If they think I'm really bad, which is most likely, I will be at Cheltenham on Saturday. But you'll be there both days, am I right in saying?
Yeah, Friday and Saturday. Saturday more of a social occasion. Friday definitely going down. I think Friday's card is fantastic. I think it's a really good card. And I think, like you mentioned, the entries look pretty decent. I think people were worried about the weather being slightly putting the horses off, but with the rain that we've got, I'm down in the office tomorrow. Got an event tomorrow night. Got a Captain Tim Forster charity evening tomorrow night at Dunkerton's, which should be really good. We've got a great panel there. Richard Phillips, Luke Harvey, Fergal's on there. It should be a really good day. And hopefully the rain keeps coming, because officially good to soft, good in places at the moment. But I'd imagine with the amount of rain, if you said that there's rain already around, I think you're looking closer towards the soft side, which is good. Perfect jumping weather.
Yeah, look, if I was to make a prediction of what the ground would be like on the Friday, I'd probably go good to soft. I reckon they'll take the good in places out of things. It was raining just a little bit today, but not too much. It was raining definitely on Monday, so we're recording this on Tuesday evening. It was raining on Monday. It was meant to rain tomorrow, so on Wednesday, about 7 mil, something like that. It's meant to rain quite heavily. So, no, sorry, not on Wednesday. On Thursday, it's meant to rain quite heavily, so 7 mil-ish. So if that rain is settling into the ground in the sort of day or so until racing, and then on the racing on Saturday, that should hopefully just keep it nice and soft. We don't want the good firm ground we had at Chepstow a couple of weekends ago. So I'd be hopeful that the ground could be good to soft, and hopefully the horse stand the ground. Look, we were just sort of talking off air there what we've had over the last couple of week or so. Horses that we've seen out, and Teller Name got turned over and on his chasing debut. We just had today, as we would record, an interesting novice chase where Triply Fire unseated, and Kingston Pride won for Ollie Murphy. We had British Champions Day, so it is a sort of quite an interesting time of things. And how are you finding the racing? Is there anything you've been interested by over the last sort of week or so?
I think you just touched on Champions Day there. I think everyone was going into it with high expectations, and I think it delivered. I think it was a great day. I think it was a great day of racing. Punting wise, I think it was a bit of a bloodbath for all concerned. But there were stories in there like the Jason Watson thing. I didn't actually realise until I read Matt Chapman's article with him this morning. I thought that was a really nice article, and he's clearly been through some rough patches in his career, but stuff like that, I think, to shine on the big stage, to down the big boys, I think that was a great moment. But in terms of jumping, I think now the flat season is officially over. Cheltenham's always this kind. Chepstow's fantastic, and I think the weekend at Chepstow was brilliant for what they could do with the weather. They couldn't do much. The ground was always going to be on the quicker side, but now you're coming into the likes of the Charlie Halls, the Betfair Chases, and you're coming towards that period in the year where things really start to liven up. And because of the weather being as dry it has been, there's going to be this backlog where you're going to see bigger clashes earlier on in the season. I think that's brilliant. So it's all to play for. It's obviously this time of the year where dreams of novice chasers, novice hurdlers, they can get shattered quite early, and but that's all part of the game, I suppose, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. Well, I thought Champions Day, I wasn't really watching too much of it, to be fair. And I sort of just came back in and I saw the results, and I was like, 100-1 winner, 200-1 winner. What is going on? And I
That's
was like,
mad.
oh wait,
No.
don't worry, it's Champions Day. That always happens. So if it's a Top Gear top tip, don't do your bollocks at Champions Day. It's always going to have some interesting results. I just want to mention one horse, and it's a jumps horse because we're jumps minded now. We're looking forward to the jump season. I thought Chosen Comrade was very good for Peter Fahey in a Limerick maiden hurdle for mares. This was on 19th of October.
She was very good.
Yeah,
she was very good. Quick.
She looked really, really good. She jumped slickly. I thought she was very good. Peter Fahey hasn't had like a bunch of runners. He's had 10 in the last 2 weeks, 2 of them winners. Chosen Comrade's one of them. A Law of Her Own's another, who's a nice, smart horse. She should be a graded horse, I'd say. And I reckon there's a mare's novice hurdle, a grade 3 at Down Royal or Gorham Park, one of the two, in about November time. I think that'll be for her. I think that, speaking very long term now, that sort of grade 1, 2.5 mile mares novice hurdle in the new year, is it February time or April time or something like that? I reckon that'll be a Gold Cup. But I thought she's very, very smart, and she'll be a great horse, definitely, for sure.
I'll tell you one thing I have done. I finished Champions Full Gallop.
Oh, what, this new season?
Yeah, I watched it on ITVX. Yeah.
Any good?
I think it's a little bit hard for dedicated break jumps fans when you know what's going to come. I think it does cater towards obviously those that aren't invested in the sport. I think it was good. I think there were some nice stories. I really liked the Freddie Gingell piece on the first episode. I thought that was a really nice episode with him talking about obviously his mum and the story behind that. And then you go forward to the Mullins domination after Aintree, and there's quite a good little snippet actually for when people do catch up and watch it. When Dan Skelton, when he realises that Willie has the first 5 out of the first top 7 or something like that, or I don't know what it was, and he was just thinking they're all fucking his. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was really good. But yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
Good. I haven't watched it yet. The one bit of Champions Full Gallop I had watched, I went back with work. I had to go back and watch season 1, episode 1, 3, and 5 again, because they were airing them last week before the first episode, season 2, episode 1. They were airing season 1 again on Racing TV after the racing had finished, and because they were airing at 8:30, obviously the watershed rules kind of thing, they just sort of thought any swear words in the first half an hour, we'll just beat them out kind of thing. And the best bit I found about it was that in the intro to every single episode, they have Paul Nicholls at about 1:30 going, I just fucking hate losing. And it's just the timestamp as every time I was like, yeah, 1:30 again. Paul Nicholls said this, and that was good crack. Anyway, enough chit chat. We are going to be previewing Cheltenham this weekend. We've picked out 3 races that we want to put under the microscope, just as races that we think are quite interesting. As Harry said there, I think it's a very, very sort of good card this weekend. That Friday card looks very, very interesting. We haven't had declarations, obviously. By the time you probably watch this at 10 a.m. on Wednesday onwards, there will be declarations for Friday. We don't have declarations, but we have a rough idea, hopefully, of which horse are going to be going. So we're going to preview 2 races on the Friday and then 1 race on the Saturday. The first race we're going to preview on the Friday is the Holland & Cooper Chasing Excellence Novices Chase. I find it slightly ironic that this Chasing Excellence series has come in this season. They've already had, I think, a 2-runner novice chase, very much chasing excellence in our game. Country Mile 7-4 Fav. King of Kingsfield is 3-1 there for Gordon Elliott if he turns up. Auna Lamb is 5-1 for Ollie Murphy. Relieved of duties again for Gordon Elliott is entered 11-2. Got other horses in there, Centaura being one of them at 7-1 for Paul Nicholls. John McConnell's got one in there for Cluniara, 10s, All the Glory, John Joe and AJ O'Neill 16s, bigger the rest. Harry, I'll go over to you. Obviously, Dan Skelton is chasing the trainer's title this year, and Country Mile's already seen this season when second to Auna Lamb when they ran at Utoxeter at the start of this month. Gordon Elliott's got a couple of entries in here. It's a hot little chasing excellence novice chase, this.
Yeah, it is. And look, the Utoxeter form, I don't think it's too great, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I think obviously Miami Magic was in there, who obviously ran really well last year as a novice hurdler, but didn't run any sort of race, and was the short price out of the 3 of them. I think Country Mile, look, obviously was learning on the job, was given a plenty of sight at his fences, but I just think that the King of Kingsfield, are we just not staring at the best horse in the race here? He's officially rated 145. He beat Birdie or Bust, who I think is a really smart filly for the for the Henry de Bromhead team. You had War Correspondent in third. You had some deep. Look, I just think the form is just there to stand out. He's obviously a chaser. He's now ran. He's ran 5 times over fences. He's won 3 of them. He's finished second and third on the other one. He's clearly a better horse over fences than he is hurdles. He had 11 goes over hurdles, and he's already rated higher over fences than he was over hurdles. I just think he's got the potential to improve. I think he's going to be one of these really early types. I was surprised maybe if he doesn't come here, I'd expect him to probably turn up at somewhere like a Down Royal. He's been kept busy over the summer. He's going to be fighting fit. I just think he's better than these as well. I know you're going to mention one. It's a shame, actually. I did think. I think it's that All the Glory. If All the Glory goes, I'd be interested to see how she gets on, because I think what she showed at Chepstow, she was given a very quiet ride, I thought, behind In the Air, who jumped like a buck, and All the Glory was given plenty of weight to. And actually, for a while, you're thinking, oh, when's John Joe Jr. going to push the button here? I think maybe at 16s, if you wanted a few quid each way, if you knew she was an intended runner, she might just be one for the extra places if you do get them. But I know, obviously, I don't know whether you do get the extra place, actually. I'm not sure how many are entered. But yeah, it'd be King of Kingsfield, the one that stands out to me. But I do think All the Glory is definitely better than what we saw. And I thought it was very promising what she showed on her chasing debut.
Yeah, even there's 10 entries, but bookmakers have currently got us priced up of only offering the 2 places at this stage, which is slightly frustrating. I think they're just assuming that Gordon Elliott's only going to send 1, and maybe there'll be a couple in here who definitely don't go. So Gordon Elliott's got 3 entered. Oh, it says 10 entries, but Special Caddo's already been taken out of the race. Henry Bromhead. Elliott's got 3 in here. Whether he runs all of them, I don't know. So maybe they've just decided that they're not going to pay out 3 places. I think it'll be interesting to see which Gordon Elliott horse goes. I think they'll probably take an assessment of the ground, or they maybe declare both and have a little look on the day. Relieved of Duties is a horse I thought was very good on chasing debut. Not sure what the form of the race is worth, but he jumped really nice. He looked a much better chase than he was hurdle last season. And even as a hurdle last year, it wasn't too bad. Like, he finished 3rd to Salvatore Mundi at Punchtown in the Moscow Flying Novices hurdle, grade 2. Obviously, Salvatore Mundi went on to win a grade 1 at Aintree. I think will be a really, really smart horse this season over fences. Relieved of Duties obviously finished 3rd that day. The form of that race is not bad at all, with Kelly Soir and Sky Lord in 4th. Looked very good at Fairyhouse last time out. King of Kingsfield looked good when he won a grade 3 Punchtown novice chase in October, beating Birdie at Bus, like you said. Pretty decent form. If they send him over, then that'd be quite notable. But I wonder whether they just entered him, just have a little look at what the handicap has given him mark-wise, because they've given him a mark of 145 in the UK, which it's only £2 higher officially than his Irish mark. So if they send him, I'd be interested in Relieved of Duties. He'd be potentially the one for me, just because I don't think he hasn't really got any action for soft ground either. As much as they did run him on soft ground last season, he didn't. He ran in a Galway hurdle behind Nandawi and fell, and then they also ran him at Killarney on good ground. So they're obviously happy to run him on decent ground, and Fairyhouse was yielding ground as well. I don't think he's got any action for soft ground, so if they send him, I think the ground should be fine for him, and I'd be quite interested by Relieved Duties. If any of the Gordon Elliott horses don't go, Al-Anam probably will be my selection. I know what you say about he talks to form with the Stuart Edmonds horse disappointing, but I still think he did all right, and he wasn't a bad horse last season. So yeah, interesting to see how that race goes. We'll move on then, Harry, to the Grade 2 odds checker novices hurdle at 3 o'clock. Now, this is an interesting race. I don't think it's the deepest one in the world, and there are horses that are entered that are going to be going elsewhere, notably Sir Galahad, who's in the betting and the entries, as well as Hamlet's Knight. Both of them are drifting like a barge, but they're also entered in the Masters and Holdings hurdle on the Saturday, both being 4-year-olds. So I'd imagine both of them turn up to the Masters and Holdings rather than this race. So the betting market, as it seems right now, Unsons à la Vie for Nigel and Willie Davis 7-4, Fortune to Mare 11-4, Jack Hyde 13-2, skipping Sir Galahad and Hamlet's Knight to 15-2 and 9-1 the pair. Run for Mile 10s, Jackson Lamb 12s, The Last Cloud 12s, Mr. McLaughlin 14s, and then bigger about the rest. Harry, I revealed on Twitter earlier that Willie Davis and Nigel Davis are very much prepared to send Unsons à la Vie to this race. Only 10 days after he made his hurdling debut, so it's a quick turnaround. And he has been backed into Fab, or he's definitely the clear Fab now, having been a touch bigger elsewhere this morning as we record. Is he your idea of the winner, or is something like Fortune to Mare or Jack Hyde interesting you?
Oh no, I think this Unsons à la Vie is a proper similar sort of prospect to what we were seeing with Potter's Charm this time last year. I just think, look, it was obviously the connections paid obviously a lot of money for him following. I think he was third in an Irish point, wasn't he? And then he obviously won a point, and then he went straight to Market Race and won a bumper there. I thought really impressively in February earlier this year, and then made his hurdling debut where I thought he jumped really well. I think it was the last hurdle. I think ground wise, I think he's good on pretty much anything. I don't know whether he'd want it too bad or too soft, but I can't imagine he's going to get this. I think he's a really, really smart type, actually. I really do. Look, we've seen some really high-class horses win bumpers at Market Racing over the last few years. Now, I'm not saying this horse is going to be the likes of Altior or the New Lion, but I do think that this horse is really, really talented. He's following the same sort of path that Potter's Charm kind of went down last year. We know that he probably had a run too many. I think, was it where he got beat by 6 Mile Bridge at the January meeting, I want to say, at Cheltenham?
That was Trials Day, I think. I think it was Trials
Day. Trials Day, that was it. And we were all thinking, is this a step too far? But I think this one's has got all the makings for a proper hurdler and a quick one as well. I love the way that he kind of he jumped. He was just quick over his hurdles. You expect these horses that are novices to make a mistake, but the way that he kept picking up, I thought, oh God, you've got something about you. You haven't. No, he's a 3 mile pointer. He's clearly going to be. He's clearly going to get a trip in time. Whether 2 miles is going to be too quick round Cheltenham, well, if 2 miles was too quick round Cheltenham, then he wouldn't have won at Market Racing over 2 miles. That's my thinking behind it. So yeah, that's my thinking. I think the bumper form is pretty strong. And Sons Alavi, I think 7-4 now. I'm definitely going to get stuck in on Friday when I get down to the course.
Yeah, I'm the same boat as you. I basically came to the assessment this race is between the top 3 in the market, and Sons Levy, Fortune's Mare, Jack Hyde. Fortune's Mare, right? Okay, I've wanted to sort of like say a little bit about this for a while because when he ran at Uttoxeter, and Harry Skelton maybe gave him an educational ride. Definitely gave him sort of an educational ride, but I don't think that was because the Skeltons have this big county hurdle plot that everyone's thinking, wow, he's going to be one for a Cheltenham Festival handicap, guys. I think it's because the horse was just like, it looked like a really, really hard ride. Like he just was throwing his head up and all over the place. He was really keen early on. And then by the time it came to, wanting to find an effort kind of thing, either the energy reserves were gone or the horse just wasn't fancying it. And I think that's why Harry Skelton didn't seem to be, to the eye, to the visual eye, be trying too hard on the horse in the last stage of the race. And everyone, I went onto Twitter and everyone was like, oh, we found the next Dan Skelton handicap plot, guys. And I was just like, no, I'm not really that certain. It's not the same kind of horse that we've seen in previous seasons. Do I think he's going
to back you up on that, the horses that finished in front of him at Uttoxeter, Grandpa for Belinda Clark, who's rated 105, and Top Jimmy from the Nigel and Willie Twiston Davis team, you'd expect Unsons Alavi to be absolutely lapping that thing at home, and I'm sure you're going to allude to it, but that was the way that I saw it. I don't think it's all this handicap, this and that. I just don't see it.
I think people just put 2 and 2 together and they've got 7 kind of thing, and again, like, there's an article in the Racing Post I'm just reading right now talking about Dan Skelton's team at Cheltenham this weekend, and Fortune's Mare, just a quick sort of summation of his quote. He's got a run under his belt at Uttoxeter, a little frustrating because he's probably doing a little bit too much early in the race. It's good that he's had a run, but we need him to relax a little bit early on. We might put the hood on him. He won a listed bumper at the track last year, so that's a positive piece of form. Now, those quotes had screamed to me like it was a good educational run last time out, and we're really hoping for a big improvement. Those quotes sort of seem like, he was very keen. We need him to settle kind of thing. We need him to do a little bit better. Anyway, Fortune Mare, happy to very much take him on. So I kind of have it actually between Unsons Levy and Jack Hyde. Jack Hyde, they really fancied him in the Persian War. Just didn't maybe run his best race, or maybe he did run to the right level. Like he ran to an RPR of 123 and he's officially raced at 123. So maybe he did run to the correct level, but maybe he's a horse that they're going to go handicapping with over fences. I'd say he's definitely a horse who can rack up, 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3 handicap chase wins at some stage when they do go over fences. Would he be a winner of this graded race? I think he'd win this race if Unsons Levy spit the dummy out, having had his first run, having had another run 10 days after his first one of the season. All in all, I think Unsons Levy yeah, you sort of said it. I don't think this horse really can be beaten. 7-4 is probably fair price. I'm not saying he's absolutely value or anything like that. It's probably a fair price. But
I think he is at 7-4. Ash, wouldn't you get stuck in again? Well, obviously you're going to get the old hammer out here. What price are you back to that, mate?
I took a little bit of 11-4 this morning. If I'm being perfectly
Shrewd.
honest. So yeah, I fancy him. I really think he'll win this. And look, they're speaking of him as a Potter's Charm kind of horse. I think speaking of him as a Formby Novices Hurdle kind of horse. If he's Potter's Charm, he wins basically. So there you go. It's on Unsons La Vie for both of us. I think, Harry, we're definitely in the Nigelland Weegis and Davis camp for this race. We'll then go over to Saturday, Maston Holdings Hurdle, and we sort of mentioned there's a couple of horses entered on the Friday that have entries for this race on the Saturday. I believe this is the feature race of the Saturday. As much as it isn't maybe a massive race, it's only worth 20 grand for the winner kind of thing, but I believe this is the feature race. Won last year by, go on, who's it won by last year, Harry? Bit of a quiz question there.
I'll try
memory. They missed out the hurdles because of low sun. Owned by Top Golfers.
Oh, give me 5.
Yeah, there you go. I basically gave it to you there with the Top Golfers line.
Yeah, well, I just thought, because I remember it's Graham McDowell's, isn't it? Kepka's involved with it as well, isn't he? So,
that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Harry Durham won the race last year. He's got filibustering in there at 7-2, but it's Give It To Me OJ, who is the even money fav. Hamlet's Knight, 8-1. Sir Galahad, the same price. Larico is his horse who came over from France. Dan Skelton had one run in Utoxeter maiden hurdle at the start of this month. Is now 12-1. Caballo de Guerrera, 25-1. And the Egyptian Ginge, 33s. Harry, Give It To Me OJ is clear on ratings here, rated 143. The next closest on the ratings is Sir Galahad on 127 and Hamlet's Knight 125. Many in here don't have ratings. Is it as simple as Give It To Me OJ wins?
You'd think so here, Ash. I mean, he was just this rate of consistency last time out, last year, I should say, actually. He just kept on improving. I thought he was fantastic towards, especially in April. I thought he ran a blinder behind Live Conti, Put Your Hands Together, obviously Mercia in that the 4-year-old juvenile hurdle. He's been active since then. He obviously won that big handicap at Sandown, beating Mythical Moon. Faisal was in 3rd, 4th, Quantock Hills, etc. Nardaran, who was in there, obviously came out, yesterday, I think it was, and absolutely bolted up. I just think he's a classy horse. I think the Moors have got a proper smart one. He's won both of the is it the jump jockeys flat races or something like that?
It's the amateur jockeys, apprentice derby at Epsom and the jump jockeys derby at Epsom.
Yeah, and Garrett, the Moors have got a pretty good record round the Downs anyway. So you'd expect this horse, but he's gone from a mark of 78 and he's now rated officially. I can't think of what he actually is on the flat, but he's gone up again. He's right at 90 years, so he's 90 on the flat. He's a very good flat horse. He's rated 143 over hurdles. I think he's just a beast, and I think he won't. I don't think he'll get beaten this. I think if I was going to take one at a price, I know you might. I think you're going to give it a mention too, but Hamlet's Knight would probably be the one. I think his form stacks up. But I'll let you go further into that. But I think if I wouldn't be diving in at even money, but I think there'll be worse even money shots that you'll see across the season than Give It To Me OJ, because I think he's just the best in the race.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree to a degree. I maybe go more the other way. I think it is between Give It To Me OJ and Hamlet's Knight. I might just be happy to let Give It To Me OJ win at even money, to be honest. I sort of came to the conclusion that Hamlet's Knight and Give It To Me OJ are similarly matched on the flat. As much as Give It To Me OJ is now rated 90, I think the 2 races he won at Epsom were pretty rubbish races, and handicapper sort of had to chuck him up by whatever he did to sort of low 80s to now what he is 90, whereas Hamlet's Knight on the flat was rated 80, 81, pretty fairly handicapped kind of thing. Now come over to James Owen, now go over hurdles, ran a race at Cartmel and finished second, and then won at Stratford quite easily, and then won at Worcester very easily in a novice hurdle, beating Bo Qualley, giving weight away to Bo Qualley and to Ride Like a Girl. Jamie Snowden's horse, so I'd know is definitely a horse to follow this season. Race 125 is Hamlet's Knight. I think that's pretty sort of just interesting as a potential handicapper going forwards kind of thing. But I do think it's a race that he can win. He just looked really, really good at Stratford. He won by 8 lengths. He jumped really nicely all the way around and quickened away like a really, really smart horse. Did the same at Warwick. I think if there's a horse to challenge, Give It To Me OJ. I think on flat form and on what we've seen of hurdles, Hamlet's Night is that. So he'd probably be the one I just chance each way, because it gives me OJ is probably fairly priced at even money, whereas Hamlet's Night, I think there's a bit of juice in that price. I'm not too sold on the others in the race, filibustering. Maybe this has been a huge plan kind of thing, but first run for 205 days. I remember Give It To Me 5 last year. They ran him in a Haydock handicap or a novice race on the flat, just get a run into him and then came into this. If Harry Jones plotted him sort of for the minute kind of thing, then fair enough, but it is quite difficult to do, whereas you've got Hamlet's Nice and Give It To Me OJ and Sagalahad and Larico, who are all sort of fairly race fit kind of thing. So Hamlet's Night for me, I think he's looked quite smart, and I don't know where his ceiling is quite yet, so I'd be willing to chance him if they go, which I very much hope they do. We'll then go sort of anything else, Harold, because there are plenty of races to talk about. Have you got anything? If not, I'll mention one in a handicap chase.
Yeah, look, I think one of the handicap chases that you might mention, I think Ireland obviously won at this meeting last year. He's obviously he reappears on Saturday. That's a good race actually. Highland's in there. You've got the changing man as well.
Race time for
the 2:20 on Saturday. I think it is a good. I think it's a really good race, and I think actually the card that they're coming up with is pretty strong at Cheltenham. I'm going to go over to on the Friday, and it's another handicap chase, and I hope you aren't. Hope you're not. You're not involved with it. But Matata is I don't know whether you're in the same race. Now we know the Skeltons are going to be gunning for every bit of prize money that they've got, and everything that they can find leading up, because they don't want the Mullins charge coming too early. But I think Matata, look, he's got to carry 12 stone 160, but I think this time of year is the time of year to catch him. He was obviously a neck behind Calico in this race last year. I think actually he probably should have won. I think they'd have felt pretty sick. He was giving tons of weight away, but he doesn't have to do all that much this year. I just think he's a better horse as well this time around. I just think everything's going to go well. Look, the Twist and Davises are flying along. And yeah, I fancy 7-1 about Matata. I know he's going to carry top weight, but you know which way he's going to run. He's going to take a keen hold, and he's just going to go like the clappers. So if he's on a going day, I think 7s is fair enough, mate.
Yes, I am going to mention one in that race, and just for the benefit of viewers at home, that is the 3:35 at Cheltenham on Friday. You mentioned Matata, obviously second in the race last year to Calico. Calico is in here, topping the market. Matata's the one who's topping the weights though, and it's slightly different with last year everyone thought Matata was carrying too much weight at a mark of 147. He's now pitching up in here for a mark of 160, which is insane. I think he's obviously a very, very good horse, and he's definitely got a chance, but just at the weights, I let him go. Look, it's not a strong view, as you can just tell by my sigh and face palm there, but I'm going to take a swing, I think, on Brookie. I need to back up what the thought process was of Ash Simmons in April time kind of thing, and in May time, because I thought this horse was good enough to beat Marlborough in the Punchtown 2 mile grade 1 novice chase at the Punchtown Festival, the Barberstown Castle novice chase. I made some sort of reasoning that this horse could beat Marlborough.
You are a psycho. I know where you're going to put up.
To be fair, he ran a fair race. Like he ran well. He stayed on nicely. How he actually finished 4th and not 2nd is actually really frustrating, because he was something like 33-1 2 places, and I thought he was going to hold on 2nd. I was like, come on, good on, and then he finished 4th. I was like, getting. But like this horse, I love Anthony Honeyball, by the way. Get this in early. I love Anthony Honeyball, but I think he's a really good target trainer, but just like he likes to run his novices in novice races, especially when it comes to the end of when they're going to be novices. So, for example, Brookie was obviously just absolutely well handicapped horse last season, raced 130 and 135. They ran him in that Aintree grade 1 behind Cleeve Hill, the Maghall novices chase, ran an absolute belter, finished 2nd, and the handicapper chucked him up £14 to mark 149. He's like, oh, that's just gutting. He did it with some other horses as well, where ran him in novice races. There's one, I think it's Crest of Fortune. They ran him behind Julius de Picton at Aintree, finished 2nd, and got chucked up like £10 kind of thing, just gutting stuff. But for Brookie, I think there's a case to be made that he is potentially the best horse in this race at the weights, in the fact that he's got that form with Calife de Burley, which is when he finished 2nd. Really, really good race that day. I really loved how he jumped the last 2 fences. Just absolutely pinged him at pace, jumped like a grade 1 horse. Absolutely jumped like a grade 1 horse. outsped Le de Sud, finished second to Caliph Burley. Caliph Burley is his horse that Paul Nicholls, if you believe him, thinks is a champion chase this season. Ahead of Le de Sud, ahead of Touch Me Not, ahead of Special Caddo. Again, Special Caddo is a horse I think plenty of. He was in 5th that day. I think that he's 2 from 3 in handicap chases. We don't know if he can't compete at 149. Like, we don't categorically know that yet. Maybe that could be too much weight. I think at 10 to 1, I'd be willing to take the chance. He goes well fresh as well, by the way. I've got it in my notes somewhere. He won off a 60-day break at Fontwell in October 2023. He won off a 64-day break at Donny last season, and he won off a 224-day break at Sandown last season as well. So he goes well fresh. I know a lot of horses in here will go well fresh as well, like Calico and JPR1 kind of thing. But yeah, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm with Brookie. For mark 149, I love the horse. I love the trainer. Brookie at 10 to 1. I think he's got a bit of a chance. And just on the line of thought for Crest of Fortune, he's entered at Aintree on. He's entered at Cheltenham and at Aintree. Off a mark 134, he's entered in a 2 mile 4 limited handicap chase and a 2 mile limited handicap chase at Aintree, I believe. I'd be very much swaying towards 2 mile 4 limited handicap chase. If they run him, be very interested to see how he runs. Anyway, that's me. I think I don't have anything else. A lot of the races look quite tricky, but I will have more fancies on Twitter, I'm sure. That's all, Harry. Where will you be on the Saturday Live if you're traveling?
Yes, probably. I'll have to double check that, actually, because it's 10:30. That could be peak breakfast time, isn't it? But I'm sure I'll be able to jump on at some point. But yeah, just one thing on Sons à la Vie. What does that mean? And this is how you wrap up.
No, don't know.
A meaning of life. Goodbye, good night. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you all Saturday morning.
That would have been very good. 10:30 a.m. Saturday. We'll be there for Saturday Live, myself, Lee, and potentially Harry, depending on what travel plans are for him. If you're having a play on any fancies, please do responsibly. Make sure to like and subscribe. The Chump season is ramping up now, so our videos will be there very frequently, and we'll be talking about Charlie Halls and Betfair chases and all that jazz. Best of luck. Follow
Midlands
us on
Nationals.
Midlands National. Jesus, Midlands National. That's in March.
Don't worry about that. The preparations are ongoing at the Midlands tracks. Love it.
And I suppose best of luck on Sons à la Vie, and we'll see you very, very soon.